Now another thing, quickly, we have 15 before he comes down with a sign that says I have 15 minutes. People constantly reminding me of what I know, which means that they're afraid, not me. Okay?
They know you.
So this is used to create the ABC system. And if I learn this poem, cows eat grass, but don't fly airplanes, I can label the ABCs on any staff anywhere I want to. If I learn it backwards, can a farm dog bite green eggs? Those are the only two poems or mnemonic help that I need to be able to label the ABCs anywhere on any staff, any place, at any time. And here's another thing, folks. You can make up your own. What the hell, right? Do we need to use C? Do we need to use F? Do we need to use G? We use them because they're traditional. But what if I want to create, what if I want to use, I don't know, D? What if I want to create the D clef? Okay? Natural's inventing a new clef. I'm going to invent the D clef because I just invented a new electronic instrument called the stick that has 10 strings on it. And I need to notate for it. And that instrument's never existed before. It's a new electronic instrument. It's only been around the last 10 years or so, 10, 15 years. And I do what the old guys do. I invent a clef for it. So I can write music to put it in the center. And guess what I'm going to make my D clef look like this. As a matter of fact, online quite often, people will do that and put that to kind of make a smiley face. Yeah. Right? It's the way some people say hello or smile at you. So this is my D clef. I've just invented a new clef, folks, the D clef. Now I'm going to take the D clef and I'm going to put the D clef right here, making that line D. Now that it's D, can we label everything, folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's try it. The D going up to the next line would be F, right? Going up to the next line would be the ledger line above that, C, and the ledger line above that, E, okay? And then coming down, E comes down to B, comes down to G, and it comes down here to E, and down to C. By the way, this tells us where G is at. This tells us that G is right here. This clef and that clef cause the letter names to be identical. Yep. Interesting thing about this clef, if I took this clef here and used the French viola clef, what would I be doing? I'd be doing this. And this then would be what? G. And now what? This clef, and that clef are labeling all the lines and spaces identically. Now they're all the same. So again, I can do whatever I want with this. But the whole point of this is to be mobile. Okay? So now quickly, what I do in my system to get a melody is once I've gotten this thing labeled properly, I can then forget about the key signature, and I can forget about all the sharps and flats, and I can forget about all that stuff that you have to remember in the other system. Because the only reason for the clef is to show us where one is, or give us a letter name. And the only reason for the rest of the key signature is to show us where the number one is. And once it's done that job, we can forget about it. I do not have to carry the names of those sharps in my head. I only have to do that if I'm reading by ABC, because they won't re-notate them and I have to keep remembering where they are. And that's one reason why it's so cumbersome to read music that way. But if we use the number system, we know that once we use those things to find out where one is, we can forget it. Our job's over. Done. Done. So, oops. We're going to start with the treble clef, which makes this a letter G. I'm going to put a sharp up here. And that last sharp is the number 7. 5, 3, 1. We are in the key of G, because it landed on, 1 landed on G. And if we keep going down, this is 6. And the one under that would be 4. And then above, 2. Above that, 4. You can see we have our 2.5 octaves now. And now what I can do is I can start reading a piece of music. Let's me do this. If I make that line red, and I ask you, how high above that is that red dot? It's a third. It's 3 notes above the red, right? What if I put it up here? 5. You can see that, can't you? Physically see that? And if I put it up here, that's a 7. What if I put a note here?
2.
That's a 2nd. If I put a note here, that's a 4th. And if I put a note here, 6th. So it turns out, from G up, all the lines are odd, and all the spaces are even. And that's all I need to know to learn to read music by number. Just that's all I need to know. Now, going in the opposite direction, we're going to get the inversion of these intervals. But if I had a note here, that would be 7. See, down 1. If I had a note here, from here to here, that would be the note 6. So you know this pattern's going down. And I can use this as my reference to see these things and pick out what they are and learn just to see those numbers and go for it.